What's going on, everybody? This is Steve with the MrBigKid channel. Thank you all so much for watching and thank you all for tuning in. Today, we're gonna be doing a chuck roast on the Masterbuilt 560 Gravity Charcoal Smoker. Now, the Masterbuilt 560 Gravity Charcoal Smoker is basically, it has a big charcoal hopper and you light a fire in the bottom of that charcoal hopper. And then what it does, using a fan, it modulates and regulates the temperature of the smoke chamber. So pretty easy to use, but it gives you a really good smoke flavor. It gives you a really strong, robust smoke flavor. So we're mixing Masterbuilt mesquite lump charcoal with mesquite chunks as well. Chuck roast is cool. Sometimes it's also referred to as the poor man's brisket. Basically, it's a really quick and cheap cut of meat that gets really good when you cook it up to brisket temperature. I've dried these things out pretty bad before, so we really need to keep an eye on the actual meat. And I don't think we need to smoke it quite as high as a brisket, but we're gonna start really monitoring the tenderness and consistency around the 180 mark. So anyways, here we go. Let's have some fun. So for this smoke, we're going to be using a combination of mesquite lump charcoal and mesquite chunks. We're going to set the smoker to 225 and let it ride all the way at a consistent temperature until it's finished. I do have a water tank inside the chamber from LSS Mods. We're going to keep that thing topped off the entire time during the smoke. So for this creation, we're using granulated garlic, fresh cracked black pepper, kosher salt, and white pepper. And the special ingredient is actually going to be coffee. Speaking of which, not only is it coffee, but this is blackout coffee. And it's delicious to brew as a cup, but coffee makes a really good rub for barbecue as well. If you guys want a good discount, go to blackoutcoffee.com/MrBigKid. You can use code MrBigKid and you can save yourself 10% off from the order. All right, so now we're gonna take the chuck roast and we're gonna put it on the top shelf, just right in the middle. That's pretty good. Now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna let it sit for an hour or two. We're not gonna spritz it down or anything. We're gonna let all that seasoning and rub bind in. So we'll come back in an hour. So right now it's 10:23, we'll just round it up to 10:30. So we're gonna come back in about an hour at 11:30, and then we're gonna start putting temperature probes in. There's no point in putting it in right yet. We're gonna check the bind, it's baked down into the meat. Once it's been baked down, we're gonna start spritzing it, probably with water or apple juice, and then we're gonna fill the tank on the bottom of the Masterbuilt with some water to keep it humid and to keep it a little more humid inside the smoke chamber. So we'll come back in 1 hour. So now we're gonna start monitoring temperatures. So I'm using the Maverick XR Pro. I've had it for a while now, it's been acting pretty well. So I'm gonna stick these 2 probes through the side slot. Let's open it up and take a look. It's looking pretty good so far, and it looks like most of this rub has bound, but it's very moist and tender still. I just poured a bunch of water inside the little water tank as well, so we can start keeping some humidity in here. We're gonna pull these through, and then I'm gonna take this and just put it right in the center as deep as I can, and this guy on the opposite side, so we can monitor both sides of the chuck roast. Okay, so internal temp 128 and 121. We got several more hours on this guy, so we're just gonna let it ride and we'll start spritzing soon. So it's been about 3 hours and we're sitting at 144 and 142 for internal temp. Color is looking great on this thing, so what I'm gonna do, I lost my spray bottle, don't know where it is. So we're just gonna take some apple juice right here, and I'm just gonna kind of dab the top, start adding a little bit of moisture. The chuck roast can dry out pretty easily, so you wanna be careful with that. But adding something like a juice, something with sugar, something sweet, it kind of caramelizes, helps the smoke bind to it as well. Looks like we still have water inside the tank down there too, so let's let it keep going. All right, so we're sitting about 156, 157, and it is 4:30. So it's been about 6 hours, and we're sitting about 150 degrees. What we're gonna do now, to keep it from drying out, is we're actually gonna use foil, and let's wrap this thing up. But first, let's gander at the beauty. Look at that chuck roast. Man, This thing's looking absolutely delicious. We're gonna take the rest of this apple juice mix right here, and I'm just gonna kind of splash it in there. There you go. And then now we're gonna cover it up. And we're gonna let it finish off. Try to get to about 170, 180 if we can. All right, so it's 5 o'clock now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open the grill and open up the foil to kind of dry up a bit and reaffirm or refirm on the bark. So I'm gonna pull these out. Oh, that just looks so good. That's gonna be yummy. All right, we're sitting at 190. So I'm gonna take this out. We're gonna let it rest for a little bit before we slice into it. Let's see how it comes out.
Total cook time for the entire chuck roast was about 7.5 hours, and that includes a 30-minute rest time as well. It's important to remember that temperature is only a guideline, and what you should really be doing is probing that meat, waiting for its tenderness. So you can poke it with a thermometer, something like that, a toothpick. Once that toothpick sinks in, then you know that the meat is ready to be pulled off.
All right, well here it is. This has been resting for a little while, so we're gonna go ahead and cut into this thing and just see how it looks. Nice. There you have it. It's not dried out, which is good. That was what I was afraid of.